All right, I'm gonna wrap this up right quick. Uh, yeah, but if Antiochus is the little horn, then right after his reign, um, it's supposed to be pretty much the end. It's when Michael's supposed to come to, or whatever. That's in Daniel chapter 11. That Daniel chapter 11 is talking about Antiochus. We just saw in the chronology of biblical events that Antiochus was doing all this stuff around the time that the book of Daniel was written, after the fact. Now remember, all of this stuff had happened during the time of Antiochus. He caused the oblation and all that to cease. Okay. They even set up the abomination that makes desolation, which was Antiochus, and the statue of Zeus, because when you read about it in the Encyclopedia Britannica, or if you go online to Wikipedia, it's going to tell you that he was making people worship Zeus. All right? All this during Antiochus the Fourth now, Mr. Epiphanes, or however you say it. Okay, but if you read in Daniel, it's going to talk about, start at verse 41, Daniel chapter 11, verse 41. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. Okay, that's what Antiochus did. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape, because Antiochus did attack Egypt. All right. Okay, and you read on down. He shall, verse 45, he shall plant his tabernacle of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain, which was what they did in Alexandria. Okay. He shall come to his end, and no one shall help him. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. At that time shall Michael stand up, who is the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even unto that same time. And the time thy people shall be delivered, everyone shall be that shall be found written in the book. Okay, so pretty much that's supposed to be the end of the world right there. After Antiochus the Fourth. Okay, but there was no end of the world. Okay. Now here's something else you're gonna want to look at right quick about the book of Daniel. See, the book of Daniel, if you read Daniel chapter 10 verses 5 and 6, I'm gonna just go through this real quick. It says he saw a man in linen with a golden girdle on his loins, his body like a beryl, face like lightning, his eyes like lamps of fire, arms and feet like polished brass, a voice like a multitude, or many voices, or a voice like many waters, or whatever, okay? The only other place you're going to see that is in Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. Go figure that. In Revelation chapter 1, verse 13, you see the golden girdle. Verse 14, you got the eyes as a flame of fire. Verse 15, feet like fine brass, and a voice like many waters, or a multitude, or, yeah. So that's the only place you're going to see that. You don't see that nowhere else in the scripture, nowhere in the Old Testament does anybody say that. Genesis chapter 49 verse 12 says eyes red with wine. That's just regular red eyes, not like flames of fire. Alright. If you go to Genesis chapter 28 verses 10 through 16, Yaakov did not see that. Exodus chapter 24 verses 9 through 10, Moses didn't see that. Numbers chapter 24 verses 16 through 17, Balaam, or Balaam, however you say his name, he didn't see that either. Judges chapter 2 verses 1 through 4, when the angel came, there was no description. 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 21, he revealed himself to Samuel, but there was no description, not like what you see in Daniel and in the book of Revelation, which is New Testament, which we know is bullcrap. Alright, 2 Chronicles chapter 18 verse 18, Micah didn't see that either. Isaiah chapter 6 verses 1 through 8, he didn't see it either. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 10 verses 1 through 22, he didn't even describe all this garbage that the book of Daniel was telling you. And just like the book of Revelations, see, same stuff. So whoever wrote the book of Revelations, New Testament, bullcrap. Okay, they wrote Daniel. Here's something else you want to look at. In the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 21, and chapter 10, verse 13, Daniel gives the name of angels. Just like Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7. It says Michael. It's give you the archangel Michael, all right? Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1 says Michael, all right? Nowhere else in the Tanakh, you can look all through the Old Testament, you're not going to see where they giving you no names of no angels. You was not supposed to know no name of no angels because they didn't want us to be worshiping names of angels. But here Daniel, all of a sudden, who ain't even a prophet, he gets the name of angels now, just like Revelations. Go figure that. So we go to Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 through 5. There is no name given there for no angel. Read Genesis chapter 32, verses 1 and 2. Even Genesis chapter 32, verses 24 through 29, the angel did not tell Jacob his name. He wrestled with an angel. The angel didn't tell him his name. Okay. Judges chapter 13, verse 18, the angel name is secret. And he asking the angel what his name is. The angel ain't telling him. You got Judges chapter 13, verse 6, of course. The angel did not tell her his name when the angel appeared to the woman. Okay, I think it was Samson's mother. The angel didn't tell her his name. Daniel chapter 7, verse 10 talks about books. And Revelation chapter 20, verse 12 talks about books being open. But there is not going to even be a judgment where whole bunch of books is going to be open. Okay? So yeah, the book of Daniel is telling you some of the same stuff that you can get out of the New Testament, which I've already proven to be false. A lot of the scriptures that people are reading that they claim is talking about a future Messiah that's supposed to come are mistranslated. One example is Micah, and I'll probably put it up as a comment. When you read Micah, they got a verse in there that they translated wrong on purpose to fool people, and it's the one that talks about David. I'm sorry, it talks about David. Okay, and that is Micah chapter 5, verse 2. It says, "But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little amongst thousands of Yahudah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Yasharal, whose going forth have been from of old." And then it says from everlasting, but in the Hebrew it don't say from everlasting. It says from ancient days. See, David is from ancient days. He ruled back in old time, and he's gonna rule again. It don't say no from everlasting, because someone on Facebook tried to argue with me about that, saying, prove that David is from everlasting. Well, if you read it in the original Hebrew, it don't say no from everlasting. Okay? So yeah, the book of Daniel is really suspect. I'd love for y'all to, holler back at me, leave some comments or whatever, tell me what you think. This Elder Young One, and I'm out. Yeah, I do not trust the book of Daniel. Yeah, it's just sounds too much like the book of Revelation, and we know the book of Revelation is a bunch of BS. I got videos on that. So yeah, book of Daniel, I'm throwing that out. Okay, so Yahoo will bless y'all, and holler at me, let me know what you think.